North Charleston Fire Chief Greg Bulanow is retiring after 27 years with the North Charleston Fire Department. I talked one-on-one with the Chief about what's next for him for this edition of Quintin's Close-Ups. And if you haven't already, subscribe to my YouTube channel and like Quintin's Close-Ups on Facebook. Chief Greg Bulanow, welcome back to Quintin's Close-Ups.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Oh, I appreciate it greatly. You know, the last time I saw you was a couple of times at King of Calhoun.
Yes.
I know you were getting ready to run a race that day, too.
I think it was the Turkey Trot,
yes,
I think.
Yeah. Exactly right. I'm pretty sure you probably ran it this year, maybe?
I did not.
Okay.
Actually, I skipped it this year.
Yeah, no worries. I know that's a very popular race. And obviously, you're very popular because you have been obviously with the North Charleston Fire Department since 1996. Obviously, you advanced through the ranks from being a recruit firefighter to now obviously fire chief when you were actually appointed to that job in 2009. But now you're retiring.
Yes.
Tell me, why retirement? Why now?
Well, the Mayor Summey retiring was the primary factor. I've been very fortunate. I've worked my entire career under Mayor Summey, including nearly 15 years as fire chief. So it's been incredible, but that's a long time, and I think with the change, it's the right time.
It's the right time. So how are you actually preparing the fire department for the changes that are going to come next with the new mayor and the new fire chief?
So we've prepared for it in a number of ways. We completed a strategic planning process, and so that is now set for the next 5 years. There was lots of involvement from current members of our staff, so they know what the plan is. Council has approved that, so everybody knows what the plan is for the next 5 years. My successor has been named. Deputy Chief Joe Munn will take over in January as the fire chief. He and I have worked together actually since the 90s. We came up through the ranks together, and he's been Deputy Chief of Administration for my entire time as chief. So he's been involved in everything, and we anticipate a very smooth transition.
And you obviously talked about those 5 years. So when you look back from your time as fire chief to right now, who is Greg Bulanow?
Well, a public servant is how I would think of myself in my professional role. And early on, I was able to deliver service directly in the role of firefighter, engineer, and captain. And then when I moved into administration, I've always understood my role as setting up my people for success, giving them the resources that they need in terms of staffing, in terms of training, equipment, apparatus, the station facilities themselves, and I feel like we've been effective in doing that, and that has been a team effort among the staff of the fire department. That was one of my strategies to build a very strong team in terms of the leadership of the organization, and then also working with the mayor and city council and the other department heads as well, and so it has been a true team effort, and I'm proud of what we achieved together.
So you talk about all those things, Chief. So what training and what staffing do you all need right now?
So we're still working on getting back to full staffing from COVID, and we're completing a hiring process right now, and that should help significantly. We expect a new group to come on. We'll run a recruit training program. That's something we're able to do in-house with our training division. We have a lot of certified instructors, and that will help there. We are planning on opening a new station in Watson Hill, which is west of the Ashley. That is a big change for us. We've been planning and preparing for that. That station is coming along, and will be staffed early in the new year. And so those are some of the things that we've been working on. Training in particular, we have a training schedule that we do throughout the year to make sure that all of our training needs are met. One area of focus that we're working in partnership with other departments and other partners is in the area of shipboard firefighting, as our port is growing in the port of Charleston. We're working to determine those needs through a port vulnerability study that is underway right now, and then we'll determine those specific training needs. And we've been working closely with the State Fire Marshal, who runs the State Fire Academy, to help us get the training that we need for that particular specialty.
And as you approach that particular initiative, Chief, how are you working with the State Ports Authority on this?
They are involved as well. So we formed a work group that involves the Coast Guard, representatives from the port, other first responders, and other state, federal, and industry partners. So it's a large group of people, but we all recognize the need and where we want to get to, and we're working very well together to achieve that.
Now, with that particular initiative, Chief, what will the staffing look like for that?
So what we plan to use is use the land-based firefighters that we have, but train some of them at least with the specialty skills that are needed to make that to handle those types of incidents effectively. And looking at other parts of the country, this is a need throughout port communities around the country, but there are some that have built that capability successfully, and that's the model that they've used. We're looking in particular at the Port of Virginia, and that has been a model that we like and think would meet our needs here in the Port of Charleston.
And what other needs do you want to meet with this initiative?
So, making sure that that our port stays open, and that is a huge that has a huge economic impact for our state. They say 1 in 10 jobs are related to the port. So the safety of the port, and then making sure it stays open so business is flowing through here. And then also addressing, as our state becomes a leader in electric vehicles, those vehicles are all flowing through our ports, and all of the components for the batteries are all flowing through our ports as well. So that is an emerging need that we have here, and making sure that we can handle any incidents related to lithium battery fires safely and effectively.
Oh, absolutely. Let's stay in the city of North Charleston, Chief. With the city growing as it is right now, what are the emergency needs that you're focused on right now?
So our partnerships with other departments as we continue to grow into Dorchester County, those partnerships are very strong. We want to maintain those, and partnerships with departments in Berkeley County as well. Those are really valuable, and what we find is that through those partnerships, we all become stronger. We all improve our capability, and we do that by running calls day to day. And then when the large incidents happen or simultaneous incidents happen, we have the capability to respond to those together and respond very effectively.
How many calls do you actually run a day?
So it's around 70 calls per day is the average. The majority of those are medical calls that we respond in partnership with one of the county EMS systems. So that's the majority, but then it can also involve vehicle accidents and structure fires and any number of things. We have a wide variety of needs in our city, and of course our job is to make sure that we can respond effectively to any of those incidents.
And you talk about those incidents. Which large incidents have actually consumed this fire department most this year?
We've been fairly fortunate this year in terms of not having major incidents, and that's always a good thing. The things that spring to mind is one time we were responding to a commercial fire on the Navy base, and a structure fire came in at the same time. So, and due to the partnerships that we have in place, we were able to handle both of those incidents at the same time safely and effectively.
Wow. So what are those simultaneous incidents that you have had to tackle or actually had lack of resources for?
So we haven't had a lack of resources, and that's because of the partnerships that we have in place. The way it's set up is that the closest units respond regardless of jurisdiction. So in that particular case, we had units from Charleston, units from St. Andrews, as well as North Charleston units, and then also crews from Dorchester County and Berkeley County that could come in and cover our stations while we were handling those, and that all happened automatically, and that's due to a lot of work to set that up and make that effective.
And I'm thinking about this because I live right near one of the stations that actually helps you all out, and that's amazing what you all do. So with those partnerships, Chief, how do you hope to strengthen that in the next 5 years?
So we want to continue to build those partnerships as we grow into the other counties. There's some technology that needs to be in place at the dispatch centers for that to flow as seamlessly as it can. And so our dispatch center, which is under Charleston County, but we work very closely with, works to make sure that it's called a CAD-to-CAD interface, computer-aided dispatch, and just making sure that those systems are compatible and that the information is flowing so that so at the street level, everything works seamlessly.
And I know you talk about technology, and everyone is talking about AI. How do you hope to work with your department with that?
So AI is an emerging thing. It's very interesting to see. I always say that technology is the only thing that's becoming cheaper. Equipment is becoming more expensive. Personnel costs are becoming more expensive. But the price of technology is going down in many cases. So we should be utilizing that. Our dispatch center, again, it's Charleston County, but they serve our needs. And I served as a member of the board during my entire time as chief, and I've been chairman of the board for the last 6 years. So I worked very closely with the director of the dispatch center and the staff there. They do an outstanding job of identifying emerging technologies, including AI, to help automate some of the non-emergent functions, so that frees up the staff there then to focus on delivering even better service. And they've been very effective in doing that.
Interesting. What other technology emergencies or emergence do you see coming forth in the next 5 to 10 years in relation to the fire department?
So one of the things that we're looking at is lithium batteries. I mentioned that earlier. Our state is a leader there, both in the manufacturing of emergency vehicles. We see that with Mercedes in our city, as the Sprinter vans, the EV Sprinter vans are manufactured right here. Of course, we have Volvo right up the road, Scout a little further away, and all of those vehicles then are flowing through our city in terms of as they go out to the port or come through on rail. And so just making sure that that we're building the capability to respond to those types of incidents effectively. And that is an emerging technology that is actually growing faster than the regulations can keep up. And so we're actually working directly with the vehicle manufacturers in some cases, so that we know how to handle those emergencies appropriately, and we're working together to keep those facilities safe at the same time as well, because of the economic impact of that and the safety element.
Now, Chief, have you been able to actually determine if current staffing levels are actually adequate?
So the way we determine that is through our accreditation process, where we actually measure the response times and how quickly we can get our personnel on the scene for various types of incidents, and we measure that, we lay all of that out, and then we're also evaluated by the insurance industry as well. They use the ISO, the Insurance Service Offices, and we're evaluated by them periodically, and we're very pleased that in 2017 we achieved their highest rating, which is a Class 1 rating, and that is really they look at a number of things. They look at our dispatching, they look at our water supply, and then they look at the fire department resources primarily in terms of the apparatus and equipment that we have and the staffing that we have in place on a daily basis, and how quickly we can get the appropriate resources on the scene of an emergency. And again, we've got the best rating in the industry, so we're very proud of that, and that can help lower insurance rates for both residents and for commercial buildings as well. So that can sometimes help attract industry when companies are looking at where they want to locate. They're very interested in the ISO rating of the fire department because it can affect their rates, and it's a good measurement of our capability in terms of delivering emergency response.
So 5 years from now, Chief, what apparatus and equipment do you need for the fire department?
So as we grow into West Ashley, that's a big change. We're working closely with Dorchester County. We've got an outstanding partnership there, and but as that area continues to grow and develop, we'll need to add more resources there as well. How much will depend on the rate of growth, but the goal there is that we're keeping pace with the growth of the city. So as that area expands, we'll add potentially new stations and resources, but the determinant there is the rate of growth.
Hypothetically speaking, Chief, how many fire stations will you need in the next 5 years?
Again, that will depend on the rate of growth. So we're building one there. We have wanted to add one in the Center Point area as that area continues to develop. We've got some land identified there, and then also as the city continues to grow in the Palmetto Commerce Boulevard area, there's tremendous growth taking place there, and potentially as the call volume increases, there will likely come a point where we need to build a new station in that area as well.
So where is the call volume increasing right now in North Charleston?
So there's not any one particular area. I think historically the south end of our city was our busiest area, and now we're seeing that continue to grow. The University Boulevard area is one that we've seen some growth and increase in call volume. That's part of why we made a recent move. One of our stations there, an aging facility, was located sort of deep in a residential area, and it took some time to get out to University Boulevard. So we co-located with Charleston County EMS to a station that's right out on Highway 78. That helps us respond more quickly throughout that corridor, and we have access also then as a supporting unit into the Palmetto Commerce Boulevard area, and even to access the interstate as that grows. And we're anticipating that as that construction begins there, we've all seen, I'm sure, the trees coming down and the plans to expand that area and add a new exit ramp off of I-26 as well, that we may see an increase in call volume there. So we are positioned currently so that we can provide great service to that area.
And when you look at the Ashley Phosphate Dorchester Road corridor, how's the call volume there?
It is it's stable, so we have not seen a huge increase there, but so there's just consistent call volume throughout our city, but in that sort of northern area of North Charleston, we're seeing a gradual increase.
Wow. So, Chief, this brings me to my next question. How exactly are you all accessing neighborhoods as growth continues?
How do you mean that specifically?
Yeah, how are you accessing neighborhoods as growth continues in this particular city?
Okay, so the placement of our stations is very strategic. We evaluate those locations very carefully.
Okay.
In some cases, the existing facilities meet our needs very well. In other cases, we may need to adjust a location, and we try and do that in a way where there's a huge cost involved in building a new fire station. So we do that at a time when the facility has sort of reached its end of life, and then we evaluate current conditions and also the conditions that we predict will take place in the future, and place those stations so that we have good access to all areas of our city.
So which particular stations are aging right now? Which ones do you need to adjust?
So the Leeds Avenue station is one that is one that we are looking at. The facility itself has aged. The crews are taking really good care of it. They take pride in their facilities, so it looks good, but it's too small. It does happen to be in a very good location that meets our needs. So we're looking at building a new facility on land very close by to build a better quality of life for our crews and have a facility that will meet our needs for years to come.
So what is the quality of life for your firefighters, the firefighters that I love, by the way?
So most of our people love their jobs, and nothing makes me happier than to hear that, because people who love their jobs deliver great service, and we have outstanding people in this department. And as we've hired new people, I sit at this table one-on-one with each of them, and get to know them a little bit before they get out into the stations, and that is always a time for me that is very inspiring, because I see these young people come in, very talented young people. They could be doing any number of things with their lives, but they've chosen public service, and that is amazing to me. And we want to always support them, and in terms of the quality of life, in terms of the facilities. Pay is an issue that we're looking at. Recently, we were the highest paid department in the state, or in the region at least, but pay is always being adjusted, and so that's something we're looking at to address, because the cost of living in the Charleston area is increasing. Housing in particular is a challenge. So those are things that it's an ongoing process, and we are always working to take care of our people who take care of our citizens.
So with the cost of living right now in North Charleston, how exactly do you adjust that pay rate for your firefighters?
So there's a lot of different calculations that we look at, and we work with our finance director to look at that. City Council historically has been very supportive, but we're in the process of evaluating that again. Another thing we looked at was some of our firefighters themselves actually presented the idea of a new work schedule, where we actually combine two of our 24-hour shifts. So they work two of those in a row, and then they have 4 days off. And by doing that, it reduces the number of commutes that they have. So if people want to live further out of the immediate area, to find cheaper housing or to give themselves more options, there's fewer commutes that they have to make, and for some people that gives them that option. So there's not a single answer. There's multiple factors on the financial side and other things we can do internally to try and address that need.
So what are you working on internally right now?
So our strategic plan looks at a number of different areas, and you'll see the goals are actually listed here. I know that can't be seen on the camera, but creating a continuum of care model for members' emotional and physical health. We have lots of different resources. We partner with different agencies, and We do a annual physical that is very thorough, provides a cancer screen, which is an issue among firefighters. So we try and address any cancer risks or catch it very early. And then after the physical is done, they provide a personalized health plan for our members in terms of recommendations for diet and exercise that they can do throughout the year to help keep themselves healthy. All of our new facilities have fitness equipment within our stations so that they're able to work out while they're on duty. And then we also look at the emotional health of them as well. We purposely try to hire very caring people. That's important. Compassion is one of our organizational values, and that's important that we have compassionate people delivering service in this city. But that comes at a cost. They're exposed to a lot of traumatic events on a day in and day out basis, and that can take a toll emotionally. So we provide services that can help support them, and also provide training for resilience so that they can proactively address emotional and behavioral health needs as well.
And as you know, Chief, obviously, you talked about it just a few seconds ago in the interview, but the cost of living has gone up here in the Low Country. Where exactly, let me ask you this way, how many of your firefighters actually live outside the city?
We do have many. So we do try and focus our recruiting efforts within the city because we believe there is some value in that. People that know our community and have maybe grown up here, they know it very well. They've got sort of that emotional attachment to the community. We believe that is very valuable for them in delivering service and really wanting our city to succeed. So that is part of what we focus on, but the economic realities make it such that may not always be possible. So it is it's typically a mix of when we do a hiring process, we have some people that live outside our city, but we do have some local residents as well, and we believe there's some value in that.
And I'm going a little bit off topic, Chief, but sticking with economics, what are the annual fire losses for the city of North Charleston?
So that is a calculation that we make based on property estimates, and it varies. We track that on a monthly basis. I don't have those figures off the top of my head, but that is something that we look at. And again, the insurance industry evaluates our resources, and they look to see that we've got the capability to minimize those losses, because otherwise, of course, the insurance industry is paying for that. So they look at that, and by giving us that highest rating, our ISO Class 1 rating, we believe that we minimize fire loss, and that rating backs that up.
Before you leave, and I know I guess you have, 2 weeks left now?
About 3 weeks.
3 weeks, I'm sorry. Yeah. What's that one thing that you want to still accomplish before you leave, Chief?
Well, prepare our department for a smooth transition. That's the main thing. And so we've got a lot of that in place already. But as we get closer, I'm working with Chief Munn and the other staff here to make sure that it is a smooth transition, and they have all of the an understanding of what I do, and that they can, Chief Munn will do it a little differently. He has his own thoughts and ideas on how to lead the department, but one thing we absolutely agree on is the priority to take care of our people, and I know he will do that, and so I feel good about it. But the ultimate thing that I want to accomplish is I want our people to know how much I appreciate them, the work that they do every day, and the gratitude I have for having had the opportunity to serve in this department for more than 27 years and serve as chief for more than 14 years. It has been it has been wonderful, and I leave with nothing but gratitude for the opportunity that I've had.
And one to two last questions, but going back to Watson Hill, how many people do you want to staff for that particular station?
So there, initially there will be a single engine company there, so that's a minimum staffing of 3, ideally 4 on that engine every day, and over 3 shifts. Then that's 12 people. As that area continues to grow, we've built that station in such a way so it is a 3-bay station, so we don't need to build an addition if we need it. We can simply add a truck and add more personnel, and the facility is set up to handle that.
Speaking of truck and personnel, what is that fleet looking like for the next 5 to 10 years for your department?
So fleet replacement these days is a real challenge. I mean, since COVID, with the supply chain issues, build time for apparatus now, what used to be a year and a half is now up to 3 or in some case 4 years to build an apparatus, and so it takes a lot of advanced planning. Luckily, we've received great support from the Marin City Council. We took advantage of some of the funds that were available after we came out of COVID. The city was very careful in terms of managing their funds, and so once we came out of that, we had some funding available, and we're actually able to purchase some of our apparatus before some of the significant price increases came along. So we have trucks in the pipeline coming toward us to meet our needs, and I'm very thankful for that.
And going back to COVID, it's been, I guess, 3 years now. So how many of those firefighters who obviously had to go because of a certain situation with that, how many have actually returned?
Some of them have, and we were able to welcome them back, and they've come back and are doing a great job for us. So each situation was a little different, but if they wanted to come back, we certainly considered them very carefully, and many of them did.
And now that we've gone past that, and obviously you're moving towards the future, how many new people are you hiring, say, yearly?
So we typically do 2 recruit processes a year, and 2 hiring processes. It involves a mix of, sometimes we hire people with previous experience, and that can be really valuable, but we found a lot of value in actually what we call values-based hiring, where we look at people who really have a track record of service, of caring about other people, that can be shown maybe in their career choices, but also in their personal choices, maybe volunteer work that they do. Could be coaching, it could be volunteering. Those types of things show that they're caring people, and when we see that, that's somebody we're willing to take the time to train them to be a firefighter, because we believe that they will provide great service for us, and that model has been very effective in helping us build the staff that we need, that delivers great service on a daily basis.
And Chief, when you take off your chief hat and you go back to your days as a firefighter, what still plays in your mind about being a firefighter?
I've thoroughly enjoyed every stage of my career. It's been wonderful, and I think back to those times as a firefighter, certainly the excitement of running calls with lights and sirens, and that action, and then being able to help people in their most vulnerable moments. That is very memorable for me, and I truly enjoyed that part of it. And then also the camaraderie of being part of a crew in a fire station. I spent a lot of my time in the station at the Jenkins Avenue station, which is in the Park Circle area, which has changed significantly since my time there. But I love that time, and that's the place where I fell in love with the fire service, the work that we do, the opportunity we have to help people, and the time to work with truly fantastic people who dedicate their lives to helping others. That is amazing. That is rare. But in the fire service and in our department, we work with those people every day.
North Charleston Fire Chief Greg Bulanow, thank you so much for your time. And again, welcome back to Quintin's Close-Ups.
Thank you. Enjoyed it.
You too, and I'll see you back downtown.
Okay. Sounds great. Thank you.
Thank you.